right. You are listening to the Deadman's Tome podcast, a show broadcast live from a trailer park deep in the heart of Meth County, Texas. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman, and Kaibus is here, our co-host in training, a real-life vampire. And we also have James Watts as our guest, a terrific writer, and he writes Southern horror, so I hope you ladies like that. Which, by the way, hang on, I just warn everybody real fast. This is the show that's been demonetized for being too damn sexy. I gotta tell you, with my voice, with Kaibus' voice, and Watts, it might just be too much already. It might be too much. So you've been warned, okay? So, actually, one thing I need to do, I need to plug something real fast. Wait, that sounded wrong the way I said. I need to plug something real fast.
That's what she said.
Oh, God. Okay, demonetized for sexualized content. Here, that's the reason why. Actually, no. I need to promote this guy's comic real fast. Look, Timothy Olsen's been a supporter of the show for a long time, financially, and also kind of help sharing the love and all that stuff. And I respect that. So I'm paying it forward, paying it back. So he has a comic out called Melvin. If you think the idea of rescuing a princess from a PC, a political correctness cult, if that idea interests you, you will be interested in this comic, okay? He's just asking for backers. The lowest amount is $12, and that gets you a copy of the comic. I think it gives you some extra goodies as well. But it's all here. I'm going to put the link in the description box below. So it's up to you if you do. It'd be great if you did. But
I'm digging his artwork. I know that.
The artwork is pretty sweet. I will definitely be backing it, so it's totally up to you guys, okay? All right, with that said, I don't have any other sponsors or anything to do, so let's get right into us. James Watts, it's been a while. I think like almost a year, right?
Oh, it's something around there.
Okay, so for those who don't know who you are, let's start with that. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm a Southern horror writer. I write horror, both short stories, and I have the one novel. It's usually more of a Southern Gothic. It can switch over between Southern Gothic and then just straight classic horror.
I like that, the Southern Gothic. Okay, and what is the tone of Southern horror versus like other types of horror?
Well, it's like with the Southern horror, it's if, a lot of people, if you ever hear somebody's like, if I start hearing banjos, I'm on the run. Those kind of images.
Okay, so like Deliverance.
Yeah, it kind of draws up these pictures, in your mind. It's like, oh, okay. Because there's a lot of weird, creepy crap that's happened in the South.
Oh, yeah, it has some creepy stuff there. So like something like maybe like Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Would that be Southern?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and if you actually meet them, like, not everybody in the South is obviously just, inbred or crazy, but you do meet some of those, and I have growing up, especially the deeper in the woods that you live, and then some of these folks is just, you could just picture that they was actually taking a chainsaw to folks and hanging them on meat hooks.
Right.
Or worse.
Right. It's crazy.
The hills have eyes.
The hills have eyes stuff, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
That kind of thing.
I mean, living in Texas, I could tell you, yeah, you can meet people who fit that profile, You're kind of worried about, oh my God, am I going to make it? I
tried, like, with my character Judd from them, I tried to make him as creepy Southern as possible, the creepier redneck type guy. Mm-hmm. And which I always make a joke that I'm part redneck on my dad's side. But I tried to make him, and actually what I really liked about the audio of him is the Dan Caravella that read the book, he actually had the accent down. I was like, that was pretty impressive.
Damn, that's pretty good. Now, before we get in, so we definitely want to get into them and Beast of Sorrows. That's your new book, right? The book you're working on right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, going to go into detail on that. One thing I want to ask you, though, because this kind of popped up now recently, and I think it warrants questioning. James Kaibus, is math racist?
Math?
Yeah, 2 plus 2.
No idea how it would be, actually. It's the concept just would blow my mind, how that could even have been conceived that it would be.
Well, like...
math is used...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Well, that's where I agree with James. I'm just thinking like, okay, how is this racist exactly? Because it's like the white patriarchy of numbers. Like, I don't get it. That's all I was gonna say.
You're actually getting pretty close to it. You guys are reaching for reasons, and you're getting close. You're actually grasping at the straw. According to this tweet here, nope, the idea of 2 plus 2 equaling 4 is cultural and because of Western imperialism. Wow. So that's weird. I don't think this person understands where algebra and mathematics really comes from. It really is about Europeans. It's more about, I mean, it gets Arabic, it gets...
Maybe
math is universal.
Well, yeah, math is universal. I mean, different cultures have different forms of it.
What did you say, though, James? I'm sorry.
Give her an abacus for her birthday.
Wait, hold on, though. That's Chinese math. I mean, that might not be African math. I don't know what... I'm assuming African math. I'm assuming because she's a person of color. I'm sorry. That was probably me assuming. I don't know. I got myself in trouble there if anyone wants to protest that or whatever. They're gonna
counting with dung beetles or something, maybe.
I don't know. But if you look at the history of math, it's not like it's not like white men. I mean, you have Greeks, yeah, but you have Babylonians. You got Persians. You got Chinese. You got everybody. Just about everybody has their own like origins. It's crazy. But
the same with the alphabet. Everybody's got their own.
Yeah.
Language system and the use of how they use their words. It's like, really.
Okay.
I'm just drawing a blank on it. It's like.
Well, I think if we get invaded by aliens, then they're really going to find that funny because, we think that the most likely way that we would communicate with beings from another planet or dimension, right, would probably be math. So. They're going to be like, wait, they think math is racist and this is how we talk, and then they just leave. I don't know.
Or maybe the aliens could just save us. Maybe the aliens could like destroy everyone, vaporize everyone who thinks math is racist. Shit. Yeah, okay, we're done with them. Oh, man.
Aliens probably have us on some kind of sitcom show or some kind of show on their world.
Hell, I would. I mean, we would be a great reality show.
Well, I think that was the basic premise of where Lucas was going before he got all, Kathleen Kennedy screwed everybody over. Was that it was like some advanced beings that they fed off the Force, and they were pretty much watching us like, that's why it's a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago or whatever, because they're viewing it like however later, like on TV almost.
Wait. Hold on. You mean George Lucas actually had a deeper version of where the Star Wars was going to go?
Well, yeah, that was kind of the basic, outline for the 7, 8, and 9. That got totally fucked.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
And if you
All
could
I would like is Rick and Morty.
Yeah, if you could turn back time and do it again. Okay.
You watch Rick and Morty, James?
Oh yeah, the one that reminded me of that one episode where they're waiting in like the I guess some kind of terminal, and they're watching all the different TV shows and dimensions, and I was like, that's what we're probably going to be on.
Oh yeah, the interdimensional TV. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I never caught that, but of course I'm familiar with the South Park episode of like Earth is a reality show. It's crazy. All right. So I'll table the orc racist thing for later on in the show. I just want to talk about it real fast, have some fun that everyone can kind of listen to. Let's get into them, and we'll do them, and then we'll do Beast of Sorrows. So them. Tell us about this book for those who don't know what it is. Kind of explain it to them, and we'll dig into the themes and all that.
Oh, okay. Them is actually my entire universe is all connected. So every story, every book I write, all has one central plot. Them is one of the earlier ones that tells about, you can pretty much learn about the Order of the Dolphin, which is not mentioned by name. There's three different cults, you could call them, that actually control the spirit world, and that's one of the three. Them focus around the dolphin more, and then it also has the Odomilites, which are parasitical creatures. They get stuck in our world sometimes. They're kind of like puppet masters.
Okay.
They control a body. They control a corpse, really. Humans have willpower, so it's harder for them to control. They can control animals until they get ready to lay their eggs and lay their eggs, or the eggs can hatch and they can evolve.
Oh, wow.
And it takes place. It took place for years because they needed, when they first came to our world, they needed someone to protect them. So it really revolves around the two families too. I know someone had mentioned one time about the family ties and the history. Because it's it's like 1800s when they first started controlling and getting protection from the two families, the Sanders and the Atkins. And each family was responsible for guarding a nest. And each nest would then populate until they had enough of the Odomilites to evolve and eventually take over anything that they could and use us basically like cattle.
Okay, so if I've got this right, so some sort of foreign, of course, I guess some sort of alien species comes down and starts like using human beings as zombies in a way, as like puppets.
Well, the way I have it set up is like each world has three different levels. You have an upper level, which is where they come from, a middle level, which is us, and then the third basically is the spirit world, which is attached to heaven and hell.
Okay.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
It's much better reading it than how I can describe it, I would probably imagine.
Well, I mean, I read some of your prose, and it's very descriptive. Like you definitely have a way of really carrying it on like that, and in a good way. I like that. Which, by the way, someone in the chat is saying for you to not kill Cole. You can't kill Cole. So yeah. So
Cole's one of the main characters in Beast of Sorrows.
Ah, okay. Are you thinking of killing him?
He's also an older character that came from Scarlet Frost, the short story I had with another publisher.
Ooh, okay. We'll get into that. So, but then was recently released. Oh, actually, was previously released through Hellbound Books, but it's you got a new publisher to carry it, right?
Yes, sir. It's in its third edition with Terror Tract.
Okay, Terror Tract. Okay. Now, I mean, and how's the reception? Is it still the same? Is it building in popularity? Are people really enjoying it?
It's hit or miss. Everybody that still read it, I still get the people that do read. They still give me the 5-star reviews. Very rarely I'll get a 4-star. So they seem to still be enjoying the novel, and I have a lot of folks keep telling me that they're waiting patiently for the release of my next novel, which I can't blame them because it's been almost 3 years in the making for that book.
Now,
but people seem to still be enjoying it.
Is them based on real life? Because, I mean, do you think that we're being controlled by aliens right now?
Well, you never can tell. I never.
What do you know, James?
Actually, I'm not one of those people that still believe, hey, there's a Bigfoot. There's probably still a Loch Ness monster. I know there's things in this world that we'll never ever know. I mean, I don't rule things out. People are like, well, it's like a myth, but hey, you never know.
So it could be. So you might know something. Do you have access to some deep state secrets that we should know about?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, look at him. He's
hopefully no probes. My butt don't hurt, so there's been no probing.
They don't hurt anymore.
I feel like a big satellite dish from Cartman on South Park.
Oh, jeez.
I'm speaking from personal experience too. They don't hurt. After a few years, you get used to it. And then, the aliens leave you alone for a little while. They want you to suffer. They like it when you feel pain. When you don't, they're like, we'll leave him alone. He likes it too much. It's no fun.
To me, James, it sounds like what you're just
quarters.
What it sounds like more what you're describing is more like kind of interdimensional than it seems like something from another planet. That's the vibe I'm getting, more or less.
Yeah, it sort of is more like a dimensional gates in between the three worlds. I want to expand on it in future novels and stories. How everything connects. I'm currently mapping everything out in my head, how I want it to go. It's a kind of a slow process because you don't want to be inconsistent and you don't want to have things that don't match up or don't just add up together.
Right.
Right.
I don't
want it to make sense.
I want everything to be covered, but I still want people to wonder what's going to happen or how's this going to end.
And playing around with interdimensional beings like this has potential to have some pretty deep lore to it, like a Cthulhu mythos sort of thing. Like I take it you have a name for all these alien beings and like mapped out origins and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're the Domulites. They're tick-like. I think we talked about that on the last time I was on the show.
Is it tick?
They look like giant ticks.
Ooh.
But they have these little tentacles that can attach to you and then, siphon fluids from you or inject you with other kinds of anything to paralyze you.
Interdimensional vampires. I can dig it.
So wait, if one of them has you connected, would you even know?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but because they're usually they're about the size of probably a house cat.
Okay.
A fat house cat that's been fixed.
Okay. So pretty fat, yeah.
They're pretty good size.
Yeah. Yeah, those male cats, after they get their nuts cut off, they get real fat. They give up on life. They're sad and depressed, and they give up on life. They just eat until they just, turn into a big potato.
It's like I have a wide range of different kind of creatures. Like the Domulites are my own creation, but like I said, the next novel is going to involve werewolves and a demon.
Oh, okay. I like that he chose like. Oh, I was gonna say I like that he chose like a tick-like creature because ticks are nefarious for like what's spreading with Lyme disease and shit like that. I mean that's stuff can mess you up. Is there a connection with that?
That's actually how I got the idea for him. Is just reading some stuff about deer ticks.
Hey, look at that! See, we're on the same wavelength here. All right.
I was like, imagine if I added some tentacles to these things and made them bigger.
Hey, that's cool. Add some tentacles. It works well with everything except for anime. Then it becomes something else.
Oh yeah,
it becomes a little adult, very adult. All right. What? So
okay.
the zombie stuff, like, is it important to them, or is it like a side thing to it? Are the aliens the more important part of the story?
Yeah, they're pretty much the main part. The reanimated corpses are they can use animals. Animals don't have the same willpower as like people, so they can control any kind of animal, infest them. But the people's willpower, they wasn't strong enough to overcome that, so they just use corpses. But they can only use corpses for so long because they have an ability to repair the damaged tissue and keep them going, but only for a set amount of time before the body starts to decay and fall apart.
Interesting.
Then they have to lay their eggs and.
I like that you put parameters to it. That they have certain things that boundaries instead of it just being kind of endless like you say Evil Dead is obviously nefarious for just can take control of anything. So that's interesting that you set it up that way. I was going to say too, James, that I like how you said you're in the midst of world building right now. Kind of like Stephen King has done, one of your main inspirations, I think. So that's pretty cool that you're doing that, because it's really neat to see how all those stories interconnect, and the characters and everything.
That's like I like like to put Easter eggs in my stories, and a lot of people, if anybody's read them or any of my short stories, when the new book drops, they'll notice plenty of Easter eggs for them and several of the short stories. Like my short story Fallen, there's a big Easter egg for that. That's the story I'd done about the fallen angel in 175 years from now.
Mm.
They all tie in.
They're all connected.
I do the Easter eggs.
Okay. Mm. Now, what was the draw for a story like this for them? And also, the other thing is this creature kind of reminding me a little bit of the Thing in a way, and the way that it can I guess take over people's bodies and kind of morph into stuff, and but it sounds like in yours there's more parameters, like Kaibus was saying, that it actually has a kind of a full kind of a set of rules as to follow. Whereas like in the Thing, it seemed like anything could happen, any part of the organism becomes alive, like even the head or an arm or something.
Yeah, I wanted them to have limits, because I try to make things, even though it's an outrageous story, it's fiction. But the best stories to me, even in fiction, are the ones that seem more real, more realistic. You have strong characters that are like people that you know on the street.
Right.
And these are the same people that's going to be fighting these creatures. So if I make them, ungodly powerful, how am I going to turn around and make it realistic enough for these normal people actually fought in these things or fought against them?
Right. Okay.
Makes sense.
Now, what's your fascination with horror? Why horror? And I'm saying horror, not. In the last show, the guy thought I was saying horror or whatever. But yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. What's your fascination with horror?
I got interested in, when I was a little kid, my sisters, they pretty much force-fed me horror movies like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, all movies, So when I got older, I started reading, out reading mystery books like the Hardy Boys. Mm. And then one day I picked up The Stand by Stephen King, and I read that, and I enjoyed it enough to go and pick up his other works. And I was like, I like the way the stories are put together. It's like you can show the darkest part of a person and still show the light side. Or you can show how the light can beat the darkness if, you have enough willpower to do it and enough, just want to do it. I think that fear is probably one of the most needed emotions that you can have. Because if you're afraid of something, you're gonna be able to overcome it. If you're strong enough, you'll overcome that fear, and you'll be able to beat that. I think we all need to have a little bit of fear in us.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, it's like the fight or flight response,
Yeah, fear is important for survival. If you got to have some kind of fear, because if you're going into everything head on and you're not afraid of it, you may miss something, or you may just overstep what you're going to need to survive, or you may end up dead. And if you'd had a little bit of fear, you'd have knew to get away and live to try to fight another day. As cliche as that is.
That's right.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's one aspect about horror that I really like, is that it's the one genre that will challenge you to make you face your fears. You're gonna face your fears. You don't really get that with other genres, really. It's sci-fi horror when you can blend it. Yeah, action movies, no, not the same. That's just all fun. Maybe
I was gonna actually. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking of a question, James, because I thought of this, a day or two ago when he told me who was going to be on. But as a horror writer and someone that's fascinated by horror, when do you think really things go from being like sci-fi to horror? Like, is it just the terror aspect, or just from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it'd be the darker the story went, the higher that fear ratio would go. To when you heard somebody say, "Well, they're horrified." Well, yeah, that's the big aspect of fear. And a sci-fi, I mean, a good sci-fi, like I would say one that balances out like sci-fi and horror pretty well to me would be Alien. Because the first time I ever saw the alien in that movie, it was horrifying to me. I thought it was a scary movie because the beasts were so just so terrifying. Still a classic though. It's one I got on my shelf right now.
It is a classic. It's timeless, man. Like those practical effects, they hold up. They hold up. And yeah, you're right. That's a good blend of sci-fi and horror right there. And I think that's one of the movies that shows that like you can have that blend. It can work. There's some people that are quick to say, no, that's sci-fi. But the genres...
Weren't they trying to cancel Alien?
I guess we had on... his name, I'm horrible with names. Ishii. He was saying that...
yeah.
That I guess Disney has a plan to put Alien and a lot of other movies into a vault, pretty much, to where...
Oh, yeah, to get vaulted, right.
Yeah, to where I guess sometime down in the near future... You may not even have access to certain movies anymore because it's competition to what Disney holds, or to Star Wars, which is weird because that doesn't.
That's not even the same thing to me. Like
it's a bad plan.
Like he said, it's a good mix of sci-fi and horror. Like
right.
Star Wars is not horror at all.
Right.
So
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that's just some. Bob Iger's like wet dream that just never happens. Because, I mean, people get pissed off if they can't get access to certain movies. They're like, what the fuck is this? What? What do you mean I can't find this movie anymore?
That's strange to me when I started hearing about that because I'm like, man, I thought he was making better decisions than that. It's like, well, apparently not.
Right. And that was in his book. He said something like about that. And Bob Iger's book. I haven't read it, but. I mean, James, what would you do if you couldn't stream Alien anymore? I mean, you own a physical copy, so no one could take that away from you. But what if you didn't own a physical copy, and there was a future to where like that movie and other movies become vaulted because Disney wants to do that? If that's something they actually want to do, that'd be crazy, right?
Very upsetting. It looks like with my son. My son's he's 22 now, but when he was younger. I introduced him to all the stuff, as he got older, and I knew that he could handle and understand different levels of films. That's what I would introduce him to, is all the classics. And it'd be cool to do that with my grandkids too. Show them that there were some great movies back, in the day.
A lot of
but
good
if
ones.
you can't get, if you can't get to where you can watch it to show them, they're not even going to know it exists, and that's just like to me, that's awful.
That is awful. It's crazy. It's like it's not competition to Star Wars, and I see how Disney could because they bought Fox, so they kind of have properties that Fox owned or whatever. I think that might be one of it. I don't know who owns Alien. I don't even know who owns the rights to Alien right now, as I'm talking. So I don't 100% know. But if that's something they do in the future, people are gonna get pissed. Now, are they going to get pissed enough to where they actually do something about it? Who knows? I tell you what's going to happen, though. People are going to bootleg Alien. That's what's going to happen. Torrent sites are going to go up. Or they're still up. But a lot of people...
Oh, yeah.
People are going to be downloading torrent files. Because if you restrict people's access to movies, then that means they're going to get it another way. The black market. They're just going to get it. I mean, you're not going to stop the flow. That sounds bad too.
Stop the flow. It's that time of the month, folks.
Yeah.
So something else I wanted to touch on, James, was, Deadman had kind of mentioned it to me that you kind of have a problem with like modern day horror. Like, explain that for me. Like how you look at that.
Some of the newer horror. I'm a big story-based person. To me, when I write, it's all about the story. Sometimes you can stray from that, and you can add things to a story that just it's going to basically happen in horror anyway. But sometimes you can focus on certain things way too much and take away from the storyline. And some of the newer horror stories will do that. And then I was like, well, I just lost interest because, well, hell, where's the story at? Y'all went on a tangent that just doesn't help me with the story at all. Not all newer horror, I would say, but there are a few I've saw recently. I prefer, I guess I guess you call me old school, because I do prefer my classic horror, my older school stuff. That's why I try to write in more of a classic style if I can. But me, it's all about the story. If you lose the story for me, you just lost my interest. If you just stray off of, and go on to some weird tangent about something, and then finally bounce back to the story about an hour later, you've lost me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it seems like a lot of things these days are being sloppy with their world building. They're really not taking time to develop characters and ideas, so it gets lost in translation.
Sometimes you got folks that want, like, especially if it's like a popular, it's already a popular name in horror, or that could be with any genre, and they want to get the next installment out. They start rushing the story, and then they start creating holes in the plot line that you're on, like, what? That don't even make sense.
Now, I know we've mentioned that Stephen King is a influence of yours. Now, doesn't Stephen King also have a kind of, I guess, a habit of kind of going on tangents himself?
He does. One of the things, though, that I was like, I don't know, a lot of people, they're like, well, it's not the book. Well, they're remaking some of these. He's doing some remakes of some of his earlier adaptations of his books, and it changes stuff, like with Pet Sematary. I thought the new Pet Sematary, I haven't watched it, but several people told me where they switched character roles around. That's one of the biggest things I hate, because I want to see what I read, not, but
they did.
They swapped the gingers.
I was like, I like to see what I read. That's my biggest thing, and I know there's not many people that do that. But there's like also, I read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. I loved the trilogy. I was wanting to see the series they done, and then I noticed when I was going to YouTube one day that they actually took each season was supposed to be adapted off of one of the novels. Like season 1 was adapted from the first novel, and 2, and etc. Where they switched and they flipped season 2 and 3. They flipped it around to where it's like you're going straight into the third book when you see the second season. I was like, I really didn't care for that too much, because it kind of throws the story off of how it actually went.
Yeah, when they rush things like that, that's not good. It's like you have the material right there. Like, how hard is it to just use that and just go off that?
I know I made a comment about it, and I had one of the people on there like, you don't know anything about how art works. It's like, okay.
That's funny too, because they say art is subjective. So
that's what I was just going to say.
You have an idea how it works, just as much as the other guy who says you don't have any idea. In a way, he's right, but in a way, he's also wrong. Like it would be. First of all, I hear what you're saying, because like the books are successful for a reason. Like, people like those stories for a reason. What happens is filmmakers, or not producers, look at the stuff and go, oh, this isn't going to go well. We're going to have to change this, change that, because of audiences, because of viewers. But and they're not willing to take a risk. They're not willing to just try something.
That's like, King. He wasn't very fond of the original adaptation of The Shining.
Oh, but people loved that. I know a lot of people loved that.
Yeah, people loved it. He wasn't happy with it, but then that's why he went back later and did the miniseries, which was actually a lot closer to the book. I have both copies because I like both copies. I like them both. Even though
I didn't know there was a miniseries.
Yeah, it had I can't think of that guy's name. He was on Wings. He played the younger brother on Wings, and it had Rebecca De Mornay as Wendy.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask then, since we're talking about The Shining, what did you think of what was the sequel that came out not long ago? Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I have read the book, though. I love the book, and I'm looking forward to watching the movie to see how well they did it, see how well it was shot and cast. Because a lot of times the casting of a movie, even if it's an adaptation, can ruin the whole thing, even if the movie is written or goes by the book.
Well, the casting was spectacular.
I mean, yeah, they have Obi-Wan. They have Obi-Wan in there.
Yeah, it looked like they had a great cast. That's why I want to watch it and check it out and see how it goes. Because, like I say, sometimes the cast can throw a movie off too.
Okay.
If you don't have the right actor or actress to play a role, sometimes it'll kill the movie.
Right.
So
right.
It looked like it has a great cast, and it looks like they it looked like there was to me it looked like the adaptation is going closer to the original film than it was either of the two books. But if so, that's fine too. I just want to see how it goes and see how well they've done it.
I know Stephen King doesn't like it, but it's not a bad film to build off of. I mean, Kubrick makes good movies. I mean, he has a skill for that.
Oh,
but
which I can understand King's point, as being a writer myself.
Yeah,
I can see where King was coming from. But for the people that did not read the book, just watched the movie as a horror movie that came out, I can see their point of view too.
Right. There was a bunch of pedo stuff added. Is Jack Torrance a pedo? I don't think he is.
He wasn't in the book. He was just a drunk an alcoholic that had little wild streaks of violence every once in a while he was drunk.
Right.
He had a bad temper, and then the alcohol just kind of fueled that.
Yeah, I mean, there's that scene that people speculate. What was it? The sweater that had a bear on it or something. I forgot. Man, there's a lot of different hidden images, symbols in the movie that people analyze, even to this day.
Everybody's a critic.
People analyzing. I've had people that read something of mine and be like, they'll interpret one little sentence, and they'll go real deep with it and philosophize everything about it, and it'll be like, no, I'm going to say his sweater was blue.
Right.
There's nothing deep, no deep meaning, no hidden meaning. It's just he had a blue sweater.
Right. That's all it is.
And they'll be like, they'll have that blue sweater broken down to several little levels. They'll have diagrams of what it means, but no, it's just blue.
Sometimes people are just overanalyzing, seeing more than what there actually is. Sometimes it is just kind of what it is. But there's other aspects of horror that I think you don't like the gore, when it becomes gore porn and stuff like that.
When it gets, it's horror, you're gonna have a little of both. You're gonna have adult themes as well as gore. But when people overdo that to where it actually overshadows the story that you're trying to tell, that's what gets me is when they're just basically at that point they're just writing it for the sex and the gore and not the story. Which there are circles in which that works well, and but then there's if you're just going for just regular horror for the average horror fan, it don't work too well when you just overdo it. I know it doesn't for me. I mean, I like a good story. Like I say, there's going to be gore. You're not going to avoid that. Beast of Sorrow is actually going to have a little bit more gore than what Dim did, but it all goes around with the story because it gets into the werewolves.
Now, what if the story is about kind of the gore? Let's say, I don't know if you care for it, but what about something like Saw, where pretty much the premise is torture?
Well, yeah, if it's already a part of the storyline, if it's a basis for it, then that's that's fine. It goes with the story. But when people just kind of skip over to, okay, let's just go do this excessively for no other reason, just to show someone's head blow apart. But like you say with Saw, it's a part of the storyline. It's actually a basis for it, and that fits well because that's the story that the creator's telling.
Right. Now, I don't know how you feel about the series. I think Saw had its place, especially in the first. I like Saw 1 and Saw 2. Saw 3, that's where I'm like, nah, I think I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. You guys lost me. Later on, there was traps that were so elaborate and the torture so elaborate. It was like, okay, guys, like, what are y'all doing here?
I thought so too. It just got gratuitous. You know, I agree with James a lot. To me, horror has always been about the build up. You know, especially the horror movies that there's not a ton of. It's not over gratuitous. You know, you're sitting there on the edge of your seat almost the whole time, like, okay, when am I supposed to jump? And then it comes out of nowhere, and you're still shocked. You know, so the build up to me is like that's the best part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because it's like, oh, what's going to happen next, and you start feeling that little tension build up. I used to love them. How I used to watch my horror movies would be always with the lights out.
Oh yeah.
And it took me a while to used to do that, because like when I was a little kid, like I say, my sisters, they would have me watching every horror movie that would come on, that would come across the TV screen, and usually one of them would go outside to a window or something and start scratching on the window or tapping just so they could see how bad they could scare me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So eventually I just got used to it after a while. Like, okay, now I'm so used to it, there could be a psycho out there, and I'd be, oh, it's just somebody trying to mess with me.
Okay. Now, what about like sexuality and stuff like that in horror? Like, when it, I guess, becomes, and this is coming from someone who does like exploitation at times. It depends on what it is. I mean, I do like I love my B movies. Okay, but that's just my preference. But what about exploitation, like sexual exploitation?
Well, you know, like I said, there's you do have erotic horror, which is fine because that's exactly what it's based for. To that's the story that you're telling. But it's like I'd say it's some of these older horror films, or for some reason Mandy's got to take her top off, and it doesn't really go with the rest of the story. Why is she topless all of a sudden? Now she's running from a guy with an axe. Yeah.
Right? I was just trying to skinny dip. I don't know. I need my breasts to breathe. I don't know.
You know, or it's like,
think of that.
Okay, everybody in this cabin decided to do it at the same time, and this guy's going around each room hacking them up.
Yep, they always have the girls running in their underwear.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, every time.
There's always that convenient dick that they trip over.
That is true. Or you know what's even funnier, when they're running high heels. Why did he choose high heels?
Oh, yeah.
Why were you camping in high heels in the first place? Why were you doing that? Oh.
And then when they do fall, they just kind of sit there with their arm up and scream.
And they scream
well,
as if
that's... Jason, he's going to be here in like 30 minutes. You still got time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to shift gears real fast and ask you a very writing specific question, okay? How long does it take for you to write? Like, let's say like a Beast of Sorrows. I mean, how long does it take you to write a book like that?
Well, it varies. Usually, if I can get into an everyday writing mood, and if I can knock out 2,000 words a day, it would take me probably about 3 to 4 months to do the actual writing, and then maybe another month to go through and reread, rewrite, edit. Beast of Sorrows. One of the main reasons it's taken so long was when I first started writing it, I got the idea to send them, which them used to, the original title was Shadows and Secrets, so I just changed the title. I added a few extra scenes, rotated some scenes, and I sent it to Fearfront. And that whole time, when they accepted it, like I forgot Beast of Sorrows existed for a minute, and I started just trying to do everything I could to promote, set up book signings if I could, which Fearfront was only 2 months, so then I had to find another publisher.
Yeah, Fearfront didn't last too long, right? Fearfront, they disappeared real fast, right?
Yeah, my book was out like 2 months, and that's when I got the notice that, hey, they're closing shop. And I was like, well, let me cancel all this stuff that I've set up. So, but luckily for me, though, Hellbound, it didn't take long for me to get picked up by Hellbound, and I was able to do plenty of book signings with like Barnes & Noble. I went to Scarefest. Scarefest is a great trip. I'm going again this year, hopefully with Beast of Sorrows in tow. But that's the main thing about Beast of Sorrows. And then once I got to where I was working on Beast of Sorrows at a more serious rate, which I did knock a whole chunk of that book out in like a month and a half.
Okay.
I went through like a small depression, if you will, and that kind of halted my writing for a minute. Kind of lost my focus.
Well, yeah. It's
so
kind of hard.
That kind of.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard not to get into a depression anymore now with things around us, but you fought through it and you're able to continue writing.
Yes, my focus is coming back. What I've started doing is like a lot of stuff that inspired me as a kid and that just kind of fueled my imagination. Like video games that I like, my RPGs, old movies. I was sitting in the living room yesterday with my mother, and I went through I think it's called Tubi TV, and I found an old series that I used to love to watch called Highlander. I started watching.
Yeah.
I started watching the episode after episode, and I was like, this is kind of reminded me of, that spark that I had when I was that age, when that show first came out. So that's how I'm trying to build my focus back, and my urge is just going through old stuff, watching old movies, anything that may have inspired me as a child or as a teenager. I'm just watching it, playing the games, whatever it takes to get that focus back so I can finish this book.
And that's good. And so, what is Beast of Sorrows about? What's going on? What's going on in that book?
There's a few different things with Beast of Sorrows. Where you have the demon child, which
demon child, okay.
She's actually not really a child. She looks like a child. She's probably about 400 years old. I call her my Wendy's girl from the hill. She's actually following a gentleman, the protagonist, around trying to get back something that was stolen from her. Unfortunately, the town that she follows him into is also kind of like a trap for her. It's hard to really explain too much without giving away too much of the story. But there are werewolves.
They're werewolves. And I think, I think werewolves are still okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with werewolves right now. I think they're still okay to write about.
Hashtag cancel werewolves.
I didn't do a whole Stephanie Meyer change on things like she did with the vampires, but my werewolves they're a little bit different than what you would see in an average, normal werewolf lore.
Okay.
Not too much. They're still big and mean. I do have half-blood and pure blood.
That's how werewolves should be. I mean, if you're going to go Stephanie Meyer, then I mean, we don't need any more of that. I know that stuff exists in YA, young adult stuff, but come on. I guess to each their own.
When I say change, when I say like changes, like or something you don't normally see is like say one of the things about my werewolves, if their natural hair color is blonde, then their lichen form is also going to have blonde fur.
Okay. I mean, that would make sense. Unless it's dyed blonde.
I watch a lot of werewolf movies where some redhead just turned into a werewolf, but now he's jet black.
Right. But what if it's like dyed? What if it's like dyed hair? Like some chicken with like blue hair turned to like a werewolf. Would she still have her blue?
It'd probably just revert to their natural hair color.
But you have like the blue patch. The blue patch is still kind of dyed.
I do have a red-haired werewolf in there.
Okay.
He's probably one of the bigger ones. But it's and there are some weird stuff in this book that I've looked through, and I've let a few people look at the rough drafts, and they're like, okay, hey, I wanted it to be as dark as I could, but I also wanted it to be. I got a little bit of a dark humor, so like my.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit. What's the darkest thing in this book?
Well, let's see. I do have an incident involving a cardboard baler. I do have an incident with some folks getting severely disemboweled.
Hey, that's good.
The demon girl is sarcastic. I gave her the darkest humor I could find. She makes jokes, but
does she jump rope with the intestines or something? I mean, how dark are we getting?
humor is it's pretty dark because she makes jokes out of every piece of torment that she can.
Oh, nice. Sounds like my daughter.
And to her, it's hilarious. To other people, probably not so much. And of course, the one thing difference is she does have. I will say she does have a companion that she carries around. It's the spirit. It's the spirit of a dead lichen.
A dead lichen.
It's pretty much like her pet or her tool, but
like a familiar.
She's able to wrangle those in spirit. She can wrangle all their spirits in. She just chose the werewolf spirit.
Okay. Now earlier,
them, to her advantage.
Earlier I was kind of joking when I said I think werewolves are still okay, but I don't know if you heard this or not. But apparently, they're trying to say orcs are racist now.
Yeah, that one threw me off too. I was like, orcs?
Yeah, it comes in two ways. It's coming from D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and also they're looking at Tolkien. They're looking at Tolkien orcs as well. They're trying to say orcs depicted in D&D are racist, and orcs depicted in Tolkien are racist, which doesn't make any sense because I don't know about you, but for those watching the live stream, I'll put an image here of a D&D orc. And if you see a black person in that, you are the racist. Okay? That's how you know you're racist. If you see that as a black person, that's how you know you're racist.
I always thought it was more than racism was more or less a loose comparison with classism, not really racism. And there are kind of some elements of that, as far as the orcs being completely, they're like the tool of Sauron. So, at least for the Tolkien aspect,
Yeah, in the Tolkien aspect, I mean, the orcs to me they don't look like a black person. When I look at that, I don't think, oh yeah, that's a black person. No, I don't think that. It's crazy. I
never thought that. Yeah.
In fact,
it seems more sexist than anything. It's like, where are the female orcs? That's what I always wonder.
Right?
Because I play the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings games, and now I'm stuck on Shadow of War.
Well,
but it's okay, where's the female orcs?
Wait,
sorry, go ahead.
Are those the real-time strategy games?
No, it's not real-time strategy.
Okay.
It's actually an action RPG.
Okay,
they're really good. But there's no female orcs to be found, or in the movies.
Well,
so it's like
they're probably not progressive enough. They're probably still back at camp making babies. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what to tell you.
Doing the dishes, making sandwiches.
Maybe they have that. I don't know, but I could tell you this: that when I look at them, I don't think, oh yeah, that's a black person. In fact, I'll go ahead and put that on the screen here. This guy, he's a Tolkien orc. And I don't see it. Which interesting, in the Tolkien universe, apparently there are actual black people. I mean, there's black people in the Tolkien universe. I mean, it's a whole other. I mean, they're human beings. They're there. So I don't know what they're going with this. It's like they're trying to does it seem like they're trying to target everything we like to try to dismantle and destroy to erase all fun? Because I think that's what they're trying to do.
Because what was it? It's a video game. I can't remember what it was. I think it's on Xbox 360, and there's an orc, and the orcs were blue, actually.
Yeah, they're not. They're not black. They're usually blue or green or some sort of ugly color or something. It's in. And with the D&D one, they'll try to say because they're described as brutes and very aggressive. Now keep in mind what's going on here. The people that are saying orcs are racist are the ones that are saying
exactly
that the description.
I had this discussion with somebody today.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but sorry, but it's just like the whole thing where it's like, okay, you're the one making the stereotype. And then saying that other people see it that way, it's like, no, not really. That's your perspective. obviously, you're the one talking about it, not me.
Right? Which also in the same, I gotta say it, and D&D, guess what? If you want to play as a black wizard or a black cleric or whatever, I don't know what the D&D classes are. I'm not a nerd. Actually, I can't lie about that. You can. You could choose to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they exist. So it's, to me, it sounds like people who don't even know what D&D or what Tolkien is, and they're just looking for something to just target with their cancel culture stuff to just, dude, I think they want to erase all fun. I think they want us all miserable and not have any entertainment so that we could all be out there in the streets just joining them in our frustration. I have no idea.
There's so many games to target. It's like,
yeah.
Makes you worry about what's going to happen next.
They're gonna say
morons from the.
They're gonna say Halo's racist. Halo's racist because you never get to see Master Chief's face. You don't know if it's a black guy or a white guy.
He could be black.
And Master Chief is stronger than the what's the black dude's name on Halo? The Sarge, right? Dang it, man! I should know. It's been forever since I played the campaign.
Yeah, it's a form of white supremacy. We need to We need to topple the man.
Which, if they did that, the black character was one of the coolest characters in the game. He actually had one of the first lines in the campaign. He's like, I forgot what he says, but pretty much, load up and get out. You know, he has all the cool lines. I should know this because I used to play Halo like all the fucking time. That was my game. But yeah, that's crazy. But werewolves,
dark elves are next.
Dark elves are targeted. Dark elves, they're looking at them as being racist too.
See, I don't get that either. It's like, okay, so there's dark elves, so what? Like, I've always in playing, I'm a nerd too, so obviously, like, this is some big surprise. But I always love playing as a dark elf as a class, and they're always like really proficient in like dark magic and stuff. Like, they're cool as shit.
Right?
Well, I think any of the, I play all Final Fantasy, so I'm always, my favorite character is usually the Black Mage.
Yeah.
Because that's the one, the strongest, most powerful magics. I think with the White Mages, you might get, like, holy or something, but with the Black Mages, you get all the fire and the, they're going to be next, too.
You reminded me about Final Fantasy, especially classic Final Fantasy. We all know what the White Mages look like. I don't think cancel culture knows about that. I don't think they do. If they did, they'd be writing about it. Oh my God, Final Fantasy has KKK origins. White Mage is KKK. That is it. Canceled. You can just see it.
Well, now we're gonna have to cancel Gandalf because he came back as Gandalf the White. So.
Yeah. Because it's Gandalf the Gray. Gandalf the White, it's better. You know what? Even Magic the Gathering was targeted because of the colors of the magic. What? Black magic, white magic. That's problematic, yo. It's like it has nothing to do with race. It's just like, it has nothing to do with race at all.
What about the blue magic?
There you go. Yeah, racist against Smurfs.
Hey, I'm trying to.
That's where I have to stop and say with stuff like this that the people that do that kind of stuff are really the ones that are projecting. We all know it. Yeah. They're the actual racists. Like, people with logic, we just don't look at stuff like that. So
is red magic rednecks or something? What's red magic? Rednecks? I mean,
rednecks.
It is fire. It's a bunch of fire. So, I mean, I could see that.
I know in Final Fantasy 9 they have it broken down to where, you have a black mage, someone can do white magic, and then there's a blue magic. And I'm like, are they going to attack all the colors of magic?
I think so, man. Cancel culture has been running rampant and been attacking a lot of things I thought would just be absurd. Anymore, I look at the news and it seems like the Onion is becoming reality. It's like, this is weird, guys. Like, you guys are going way too far in this stuff.
Now, who's the blue magic going to offend? Smurfs?
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, Avatar. Yeah, those aliens that don't exist.
But But actually, when it comes to Magic the Gathering, they could probably just cancel Blue Magic. Blue Magic are a bunch of dicks anyway. Blue Magic players, God, they're some of the worst. Not to reveal my nerdness about Magic the Gathering, but those are the decks of, other cards have like healing and powerful characters, powerful creatures. Blue, yeah, we're just gonna stop you from playing the game. All the cards in your hand are gone, and your deck is fucked. I hate blue. I hate blue so much.
Jeez.
Okay. But yeah, I think werewolves are still okay for now. I'm trying to think how they can even angle that. I don't know how they could even attack that.
Well, how they could attack it. Come on, man. Underworld, one of these prequels, they bred the fucking werewolves to be like a slave race and protectors. Of course they're gonna nail it eventually.
There you go. So werewolves are slaves of vampires. Vampires are the oppressors of werewolves.
Make them my bitch.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that. That's it. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna cancel Underworld and vampires. They're gonna. God dang it.
I could never be canceled. I'm sorry.
Good thing I bought the set.
Right.
What's that, James?
I bought the set for all the movies for Underworld.
Oh.
Good on.
I liked all those except for the one about the daughter. That was where they kind of, it went off script to me. It was kind of like, okay, sure, right.
I don't think I saw that one. Is that the last one they did?
No, it was like the second or third to last. The last one they did, I think, was where, they had the werewolf guy's blood or whatever, and the dude was like shooting it up like a drug or something. But
okay, man, yeah, they're coming after everything, and I said this before. I think dude, might be a conspiracy, but I think their plan is to erode everything that's fun, so that we're all miserable and we all hate our lives, and then we blame the president. I mean, whoever that would be at the time, but we would all. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think. I don't know. It sounds out there, but it's crazy.
Almost fantastic. Still safe.
All right.
What is it? Wait, what's still safe?
Phantasm.
Phantasm?
Phantasm still safe?
Oh, okay.
Classic horror. Hope they don't find anything wrong with that one.
No, I don't. What?
Oh, they'll find something.
They'll find something, I'm sure.
Tall man. The tall man's too pale.
Tall man. He's too white.
Yeah. He's a symbol of the white patriarchy.
Yeah, that's what I'd probably say. Yeah, and he's tall too, so he's like, he has the height advantage. He definitely has that. Okay, yeah. I don't know, man. They look at everything. The genre of horror that could be targeted easily. Like, it has a reputation of the black guy dying first, but that.
Well, now I mean they're gonna do that. What? There's that movie coming out where it's like the black people are the slave owners and the white people are the.
Oh, I saw something about that.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I don't care. I'm not triggered. It's a fucking movie. Who gives a shit? It's just fantasy. So, whatever.
What do you think about that, James?
Like you said, it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
People have done that for years with different kinds of situations, and I saw shows and movies where the Third Reich had never ended, and that the whole world was like that. Or then I've seen other shows where it was reversed. You can see it all the time. It's just fantasy, but there's going to be always somebody to try to pick it apart and be like, well, you know what?
Even with that movie, they're probably going to pick it apart and find something wrong with it. I guarantee you they will. I mean, there's probably going to be something in it. Maybe they go too far. Maybe they make it where like the white people that are enslaved actually speak like the slaves did back in the day. So they're like, oh, that is problematic, blah, 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 blah. Because of stereotypes, blah, blah. They'll find a way, man. Because the people who push for this stuff are never satisfied. They're never fucking satisfied.
Well, it's really it's obvious to see it's an agenda, and we won't want to get further into that. But it's like they want they want to mess with Robert Downey for Tropic Thunder, but nobody has anything to say about the Wayans brothers and white chicks. It's bias.
Right. And Tropic Thunder was obviously meant on purpose. Like, that was part of the joke,
Well, he brought it to the table, that conversation that, hey, like this, it's actually not okay for someone to do blackface. So in my mind, like, and not even that, like, it was funny. It wasn't really, it basically was bringing it to the conversation. Like, hey, this isn't really an acceptable thing anymore. So.
What were you going to say, James?
Oh, I was saying, no, I forgot all about Tropic Thunder. That's one of my favorite movies.
It's funny, too.
So funny.
When you look for a GIF of that, the respond, like, on Twitter and Facebook, whatever, I'm always looking for the one that you never go full retard. But you can't find that one auto-loaded because the R word is problematic now. It's crazy. Anyway.
I think probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he's running the helicopter and the little kid's like on his back stabbing him.
Oh, yeah. He slings him off the bridge. I actually just watched that over the weekend on Independence Day because my wife, we're watching war movies because it's Independence Day. I'm like, okay, the next one's my pick. All I can promise is it's going to be a war and it's American. That's it.
Speaking of movies, James, what is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movie? It's going to be hard, but think back. Actually, it's not all that hard. Actually, the original not Friday the 13th, but the original Nightmare on Elm Street was probably one of my favorites. Probably one that scared me the most because it involved dreams and I was a little kid. Yeah. So for a while, I was actually afraid to go to sleep. But I like that whole series into a point. But I always thought that attacking someone through their dreams was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
I always thought the first one was the scariest because after that it really switched gears. It became more like I felt like the tongue-in-cheek horror, kind of like Evil Dead.
Yeah. Robert Englund did a great. He played a great role as Freddy.
Yeah.
That first one got me.
Now, how scared were you? Were you trying to like drink a bunch of soda, like Mountain Dew or whatever, just try to stay awake?
Anything I could do to stay awake, I would sit there and I'd keep the lights on. And, I'd keep my lights on at night, and then they'd come in there and say, you got to turn the light off. My dad said, we ain't paying this electric bill. I'm like, well, somebody's going to come try to get me if I fall asleep.
We got guns in the house, son. He's not going to get you. I don't know.
We'll be like, can I have some coffee? No, you're 6. Go.
If I send you a picture, can you put it on the screen, Deadman?
Yeah, I could. All
right, just keep. I'll send you here in just a second. Here, let me see here. Hold on. This will get everybody going. I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook or Skype better.
Oh, Facebook is fine.
Okay.
All right.
It's coming up. Hold on.
Okay. Okay, while we're waiting for that picture, hey James, is there anything else in the writing and publishing industry that kind of grinds your gears?
Well, a lot of times with the writing, it's I've noticed it's mainly a kind of an issue when the independent horror is editing.
Editing.
I'll edit my stuff to my best ability, but I always consider myself to be a clumsy editor because I'll miss stuff. And then when, then you have to go through 500 or 600 times of going through edits over edits over and over again. Mm-hmm. But some of the small independent publishers, I've noticed even stuff that I've had published and is already out there in print, and I'll go back and read it, and I'll be like, well, there's still a ton of mistakes in here. And, it's like I'd like to see stronger editing, like a stronger editing department in some of these independent publications, because I don't want people to think that I'm not trying to give them a good product. If I'm clumsy, I'll read right on past an error and not notice it until after I've read it like 20 times.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
I get kind of excited, especially when I'm starting to get ready to finish what I'm working on, and I'll just miss all kinds of crap.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's like we should be going for an A, but I think some publishers, myself included, might be satisfied with a B. Hell, even a C, if you want to be brutally honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I know I made some mistakes on my own. Like, let's say the deep fried horror stuff. That's like a really cheap publication. It's like a $5, almost nearly free. That one, since it's dirt cheap, it is what it is. I want it to be good, but it's not gonna be like ultra polished because the idea is to be dirt cheap. And to get it dirt cheap, I mean, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna just look through the stories. Okay, it's good. Boom, there you go. Have some fun. It was a free zine and like a $5 book. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's other stuff, other publishers. Not saying any names, where it's like, oh, what's this? This is trash.
And it's like I think of me. I mean, I'll edit. I mean, I'll do my own personal edits. I'll even check it with Grammarly. I don't trust Grammarly 100% because I saw stuff on Grammarly that Grammarly will ask you to edit something that you already know is already correct. So it's not, it's not a perfect program, but I'll use it for backup just in case if it does pick up some stuff that I might miss, and I'll read over and over again, and I'll think I've got everything. I'll think that every error that was in that book that I've caught it, and I'll send it in, and I'll get stuff back. So, well, no, you didn't catch this, but they're still missing stuff too. And I'm like, well, it's like not a thorough edit.
Right. Even James, Tony Evans. Even Tony Evans and I would go back and forth on one of his books. He'll catch this, and I'll catch something else later on. I'll try to ninja edit and not really like let him know because you might worry about it. But like, later on there was this thing, but I fixed it. Things like that. But even after that, there might still be something. It's like, oh my god. Like,
there's always going to be something. I see it in the big house publishing companies, all in their books, like Penguin, Random House. I see stuff. I still see errors from time. It's going to happen because nobody's perfect. But when I see like a whole bunch, and I'm not going to name the publisher. This was the very original publisher in 2008, when them was still called Shadows and Secrets. I'd actually went through and I had noted probably about 10 pages of errors and typos that I found after they had sent me back the galley copy to go over. And then I sent what I'd found, I'd sent to them. And not only did they not even change or fix half of the errors I found, but then there was even more errors than the galley copy had. And then bad printing mistakes. It's like, really? And then they just want me to buy my own books. They never, it's like, I wrote it and I want to keep buying my own books.
Yeah. Okay, the image, I got the image to put on the screen here. It's a cool meme. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Lord of the Rings.
Now, there was one called The Lord of the G-Strings.
Yeah, the Lord
I've seen that.
I need to see that again for research. I need to be reminded about that. Yeah, so this could happen. An all-black cast for a Lord of the Kings remake. Maybe. We'll see if that happens.
That's just, I don't know. Let's just leave it alone.
Yeah. You know what? If we keep on going like this, we're gonna go back to making. We're back in the, I think it was the 80s or late 70s. They did like black exploitation movies. We're gonna go back to doing that.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go back to doing that. It's not gonna be what y'all think.
I'm actually cool with that.
Yeah.
Some of them are funny. I think we'll be making fun of them more than we will be rallying behind them.
Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway. But yeah, that's the thing. Okay. So James, I'm looking forward to your new book. Definitely let us know. So you're still working on it right now. Like it doesn't have a release date right now.
It doesn't right now. I'm
Okay.
on the last chapter, probably about
Okay.
2,000 or 3,000 more words
right.
to knock out, and then do a little small epilogue.
Okay, so it's not out right now, but definitely check out his book, Them. Check that out. Definitely get a copy. And whenever Beast of Sorrows comes out, feel free to come back on the show. We could talk more about it and probably joke about some other nonsense that I'm sure will happen by that time.
Oh, yeah.
All of catalogs.
Every day I pull up Facebook, you see more and more. It's like, really?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, please press the like button, share, subscribe. It really helps the show. Definitely the sharing part, because this channel's demonetized. I'm not joking about that, because sexually gratifying content. And I gave up on trying to appeal because I doubled down and providing sexually gratified content. You could see my big titty anime streams I've been doing. They're lots of fun. So you sharing is what's actually helping. Y'all take it easy.
Share them titties.